I haven't done this for a while. To be honest, I don't know why they invite me. I have always said that if I make a presentation, and at the end of the presentation, people are throwing pens and books at me and telling me they never invite me again, then I know they got the point. But if they are saying, oh yeah, it was very nice, you know, it's really provocative, then I know they got me wrong. The other thing is, I don't know how to behave when a speaker says something that I don't accept. Should I simply say, okay, you know, that's okay, you know, you're a speaker like me? Or should I say no? But I'll come to that. I've been given a subject, a very timely subject of conservation of the past and the present. And of the past, I am told, because I'm a Pan-Africanist, Pan-Africanism is a quality of thought and practice that is rooted in the best image and best interest and best action of African people. African people. About 1.2 billion in Africa, I think 37 million in the Caribbean, 120 million in Brazil. We have 200 African people, people of African descent in India. All of this, Pan means all these African people. That's what we mean by Pan-Africanism. So, most of the time, when we meet as African people to discuss something that is pertinent to us, and lo and behold, the whole United Nations comes. Me, I thought they would only be African people from Africa, but now I see Germans and Paris and Spaniards and whatever. When did African people stop believing in themselves? Because the subject you study are the people you lead. If you want to lead black people, you have to study black people. You have to know what a black person is. And I know that most of us don't even want to be called black. Our blackness, I have seen when I visit a family and they bring an album to show me pictures. The first picture in the album is where they have a white person. Not where they have their grandmother, no. We don't want to be called black anymore. Because black is negative. If I want to cheat you, I blackmail you. If I want to put you on a bad list, I blacklist you in a black book. If it's a bad trading day, it's a black day. If it's an illegal market, it's a black market. We wear black for funerals, and now all your weddings are white. And when they show you a picture of the devil, what color is the devil? Yeah, the devil is black. And when they show you a picture of God, what color is God? God is white. And therefore, you believe that you African people, you are not the chosen people. You've heard of that concept? I was in a Catholic seminary a long time. Somebody talked about education and said, you know, I got a chance to be educated. I didn't get a chance to be educated. I wish I hadn't been educated. But, let's say this. The first people to populate the world were us, black people. There are 6 stages of human development. From Australopithecines to Homo sapien. Homo sapien is modern man, somebody who could sit in here and look like us. The oldest Homo sapien, according to UNESCO, UNESCO had to rewrite the history of Africa. I think up to 208, they wrote the history of Africa. Because when the white man colonized the world, he also colonized the information about the world. So part of what you and I learn in our education institution is part of that colonized information. And it teaches us that we created no civilization. We jumped like trees, like monkeys from tree to tree until they came to bring us a civilization. But listen, when UNESCO rewrote the history of Africa, In volume 2, chapter 1, it says, as a result of the work of Professor Leakey and other subsequent work, it leads us to confirm that more than 150,000 years ago, beings morphologically identical with the man of today were living in the area of the Great Lakes, at the foothills of the mountains of the moon, at the source of the Nile, and nowhere else. This is UNESCO. UN. Have you ever heard of the UN? United Nations Educational Scientific Committee Organization. But white people still said, no, black people can't be the first people to populate the world. Then, at Berkeley in California, a group of scholars, Rebecca Kahn, Stone King, they took the mitochondrial DNA. You know, when a child is being formed, when you are having, in Europe, Europeans call it sex. For us in Africa, we call it spiritual congress. We don't have sex, we have a spiritual congress. So when you have a spiritual congress, there are some genes that are exchanged. One of them is the nuclear DNA, and that is, shared between a male and a female. But there is a gene that a woman passes to the child behind a man's back. You know how these women always plot against us. So that gene is called mitochondrial DNA. So Rebecca King and Stone King followed the original woman by looking at the mitochondrial DNA. When they test who is your mother, they look at the mitochondrial DNA. And they found that the first woman at the stage of modern man came from here, where we are standing. You know what that means? It means you are the mother of the entire humanity. So if human beings learn to walk upright, you taught them how to walk upright. If human beings learned to protect a tree, you taught them how to protect a tree. You developed what we call articulated symbolic language. Do you know what it means to put a language together? Although now you can't speak Chinyarwanda without mixing it with French, with English, with all these things. But that's not the end of the story. Then other people said, okay, maybe the mother was black from Africa, but the father could have been different. So IBM, with National Geographic, they carried out a study, this time looking at the Y chromosome. When you go for a paternity test, when you are denying, I'm not the father, I've never seen that woman in my life. They take you for a test, and they look for the Y chromosome. And they pursued the first human to Tanzania among the Hadzabe, the oldest Homo sapien. So humanity started here. And I'm saying this because most of the time, what makes the African unable is confidence. Confidence. You think you owe somebody something. It is the confidence that makes me stay hungry when I'm in Rwanda. Why? Because your hotels don't cook your food. And I don't eat European food. I'm not Portuguese or Dutch and when I ask in the restaurant, they say, you know what we call continental food. What continent? European continent. Isn't that a shame? Yeah? You turn on the TV, Premier League. Say, is this Rwanda Premier League? Does it white people in it? They say, no, British Premier League. Where am I? So, what makes the African unable? He lacks confidence. With confidence, without confidence, you're not going to achieve anything. When you have no confidence, you let other people plan for you. And we say those who plan for the future will have a future. Those who don't plan for the future will have other people's plans imposed on them. For example, when we talk about planning for your family, you know family planning? When white people talk about family planning, they are talking about one thing: reducing the black population. That's what it means. There is even now a United Nations department that does that with a woman called Margaret Sanger. Have you ever heard of Margaret Sanger? Margaret Sanger, she's a eugenics society. It later became the United Nations Family Planning Association, something like this. They are not saying no. Let's plan our families so that we can grow sufficient food. Let's plan for our family so that we grow food, we build granaries and store grain. We have very clean water just like we used to have. No. They are saying you are too many. Black people, you are too many. When there is a crisis in a society, the first thing they bring are condoms. Condoms and family planning pills and Depo-Provera and all these things. So how did we end up here? And how are we going to protect our environment, protect our society, when all the time there is a hidden hand telling us what to do? Like education. The education we are praising, what is our education now? I call it a sitting, eating education. What does it teach us? You sit in primary school, in nursery school. Now they begin even, they have something. At my time, we didn't even have nursery. Now they have reception. Reception, zero class. Do you have those things in Rwanda? I think you don't have those things in Rwanda. Do you have such a things for children? Like you take a children to reception, and then he spends 3 years before he goes to the nursery. Why can't he just go to primary like we did? Yeah? Why waste all that time? A child is 2, and you are taking him to school. Now, for us, we understand our education was only English. What we call education now is English and sitting down. So, they teach you science. There's a tree. You know already that a tree has got branches, have a taproot, have got leaves, have whatever. But when you put it in French, the leaves, and put it in English, they say, this is a very bright child. That is why only in Africa you find an electric engineer that sleeps in darkness, yet he studied light. Only in Africa, a highway engineer uses a footpath to go to his home. I was listening like the previous speaker, and you are talking about AIDS, HIV. Whatever remarks I'm making, we are one family. Remember I told you that we come from one family, We are the same, me and you, we're the same Homo sapien sapien. But the arguments you are presenting on the stage, this is old. Old. Because, for example, the rapid tests they use in these countries are banned in other countries. Because it's scientifically valueless, the rapid test. You could be HIV positive in Rwanda and negative in America. Because they look for 2 proteins. The P24, those who think HIV causes AIDS, they say it has 8 proteins. In Rwanda, they look for 1. In Uganda, they look for 1. In America, they look for 2 on the CDC criteria. On the Red Cross criteria, they look for 3. But when you cross into Canada, they look for 4 proteins. You can be HIV positive in Rwanda. You go to America, you are negative on the CDC criteria. You go to Red Cross, and you can be positive in America. When you cross into Canada, you are negative. Why? Because we take every information that is given to us. We take it as factual. We take it as given. It's not. It's not true. I had my brother talking about autism. The biggest debate in the world is autism and measles vaccine. It's a big debate. It has been in the British Parliament. It has been with the Center for Disease Control that you mentioned. It has been with the National Vaccine Information Center. Autism and vaccine. Should we just say, fine, vaccines are good? Or should we look for the connection? Did we have autism in our traditional society? No. Once we move away from our Africanness, once we move away from our own ability, thinking, seeing for ourselves, hearing ourselves, and walking with the strength of our own person, then anything will happen to you. Anything will happen to us. Take, for example, wealth, money. We say that the control of politics is power, or power is the control of politics. The control of force is called the military. The control of wealth is called money. Now, if I was to link development and education, let me link 3 things. Development, education, democracy, and conservation. Let me begin with development. All the models that we follow of development are from Europe, European development. They tell us Rwanda has grown by 7%, Uganda has grown by 5%. That is progress. 5% growth. Huh? You who know percentage is over what? 5% over what? Over 100%. If you say an economy, I'm trying to move away because that light is going right in my eyes. If you say an economy has grown by 5%, it means it has not grown by 95%. But they don't use this economy is in danger because they were advising you. But this has not grown by 95%. And the reason it doesn't grow by 95% because we are following the European model of development. We are following the European model of democracy. Now, I have no patience for democracy in the world. No patience. I think it should be hit by lightning. I have not even seen a country that practices democracy. When the British had their revolution in 1215, it took them 500 years to organize the first elections. 500 years. And that election they organized, I believe it was in 1708. Only 7% of the population took part in the elections. In Rwanda, you had your revolution in 1994. And straight away they are behind you, democracy, democracy. What democracy do they have in England? The British government is headed by a queen. Her Majesty's government. Is she elected? No. When they elect a prime minister, he goes to the queen to ask the queen for permission to form a government. Into power? No. When she leaves, who succeeds her? Her son. Do they elect the son? No.
Doctor, I have to intervene because of time, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm telling you. Okay, give me 1 second, then let me finish this. So, most of the models that are being given to us for education, for democracy, for money, for wealth creation, are models that are designed everywhere. And I'm telling you, they will not fit in our society. We have to look to ourselves, look for our own solutions, work with the strength of our own person, and also give our speakers more time to explain these points. I thank you.